guys, welcome back to T-Bone Southern Ride presents October of Motos and Mayhem. As we're going down the road at half the speed we need on the blue moon. Been messing with the blue moon a little bit here, guys. Got the bar situated, been working on just a few things on it, and I'll be honest with you guys, the bike's starting to grow on me quite a bit. Somebody actually mentioned that to me. They said, you didn't really seem happy with your trade, T-Bone. What's going on? I never was really a big fan of the Dyna look. You know, Super Glide, Wide Glide was a little different. The Wide Glide's essentially a Softail with a set of struts and shocks on it, essentially is how I look at the Wide Glide. But the Super Glide, the Dyna line, I always just kind of thought it just essentially a beefed up Sportster, especially like with the Super Glide Sport and, you know, the Dyna Lowrider. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm really starting to dig on this Dyna a little bit. I've done a few things to it, and I did a lot of research on the situation. I am proud to say though, and I do have to put that in this video. Of course, this is October of Motos and Mayhem. This is going to be a movie review video, reminder video. Just one of the movies that came out I really enjoyed. But anyway, before I get to that, I did the research and I was wondering if I qualified to be a Dyna bro. And guys, I am happy to report that I do not qualify as a Dyna bro. Now, T-Bone, what are you talking about? Okay, well, the Super Glide probably is the most... Let me back up. I was about to missay something. The Super Glide has captured a lot of attention ever since the Sons of Anarchy come out. Okay, and the Dyna bro thing, the best I could tell, kind of started over on the West Coast, and it kind of started around the time that Sons of Anarchy came out. They run the 9-inch rise, 10, 11, 12-inch rise T-bars, which is essentially just the two bars that come up with a straight drag bar across them. They mount these up here, and they put what I call the California fairing on it. It's actually not, that's not what it's called. It's essentially like a windshield, but it's a little more solid. And I don't mind the way they look. I think they actually look pretty cool, because I had thought about putting one on this bike or getting one of the cafe style fairings to go on this bike. But after adding the bars that Brother Homer Deal hooked me up with and Brother Milkman put on for me at his shop over in Appalachian Mountain Rides, I'm actually starting to dig the windshield a little bit more, and it's quick to attach. I can just pop it off, and it's dual purposing right now. It's serving as a bottle holder for my Mountain Dew. But nonetheless, I don't have the T-bars, I don't have the 2-into-1 Thunder header, I don't have the rear end jacked up to Jesus. So if the Dyna bros saw me, they would say, yeah, you're not Dyna bro material on that bike, and that's fine, because it's not just the bike that has to be outrageous. Rear end jacked up, the big T-bars, the California fairing. I don't wear Vans shoes. I don't ride in shorts, and I don't wear the Dyna bro t-shirts, which I learned they do have specific t-shirts that they like to wear. But so happily I say to you that as I'm sitting on this Super Glide, I am not a Dyna bro. And you know, I'm a Softail guy. The Fat Boy, I'm a motorcycle guy, but I really love my fat boy. I love the Softail. Again, that's what I was looking for when I came across this one here, but I just had to try this one on. And I'm really starting, it's got a few little niches that Milkman's going to take care of for me when I can find time to drop it off to him. But I have done this to myself in October. I've got so much stuff going on, shooting all this content, that I really need the bike right now. I need to be able to ride it, because I want to keep shooting on Blue Moon, and I'm going to be switching over to Big Papa. I'll be shooting some videos and contents on Big Papa and the Blue Moon, so you guys will get to see both bikes, hopefully, if nothing goes wrong. But I just thought I would bring you that little PSA, you know, a little public service announcement. I am proud that I'm not a Dynabro, because I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've looked at the bikes on Instagram that the Dynabros like to ride, and I've watched their videos on YouTube. These bikes make really good bikes for the things that they enjoy doing, and I learned that they actually drift these bikes, like Tokyo Drift. When they jack that rear end up and they put some saddlebags on for even distribution of weight, most of them won't run the saddlebags, but that's just because these are cool bikes. These, you know, when a lot of the photos that you see of Harley Davidson's popping wheelies, if it's not some tricked out, ramped up Sportster, it's usually a Super Glide that's standing on its rear wheel going down the road. And no, I don't subscribe to putting a Super Glide on its rear wheel going down the road, guys. I'm old. I'm just old. I guess that's why I'm so glad to not be a Dynabro, is because I'm just old. And you know, if I see something that I enjoy, I'll try to adapt to it. Sort of like with the motovlogging. I saw it, really enjoyed it, really enjoyed watching people make content, and I thought, yeah, I'd like to give that a try. I'd like to do that. And this has become a very happy thing that I enjoy doing. So much so that one of these days, I'm going to learn how to do it right. But I really admire those guys who can go out to shoot content and remember everything. As you can see, I forgot my gloves, so I'm riding, which is fine. I would rather ride without gloves, but I started trying to ride with the gloves, you know, a little bit more protection on top of my hands and stuff. And that's what a lot of that gear is for. It's just for extra protection. But remembering the camera, remembering to hook up everything, remembering to put boots on, and just there's a lot to remember. But I actually did get a bar bag added to the front, so I have a little bit more room to carry stuff, so I don't have to wear a backpack all the time. That's kind of one of the disadvantages of not having the saddlebags and the trunk, is when you're going to go somewhere, you usually end up having to shove everything in a backpack, and that's cool too. I'm not dissing wearing a backpack. I did that actually for a while. You know, wear a backpack while you're riding. I actually used to have a certified gear bag that I could wear, and I had bought it years ago when before the backpack trend came along. People were like, well, we're not going to pay big money for motorcycle bags when we can just throw it in a backpack. But you know, over time things disappear, and you move several times and you forget where you put everything, and then you just lose it. So, but anyway, that's enough about that. I'm not a Dynabro, and I'm proud of it. And I know what you're going to say. I know there's Dynabros probably going to see this video. I'm not against you guys. I'm just not as crazy as you guys. I'm not about standing it on the rear wheel and drifting and all that stuff, which is cool to watch on YouTube. So to you Dynabros who make the content, very cool. I enjoy what you do. It's just not me. Just because I ride a Dyna don't mean I want to be a Dynabro. But anyway, guys, you know why you're here. 1999 guys, I can remember vividly when this movie came out. Me and R1 was actually excited for this movie. This is actually one we went to the theater and watched this movie, if I remember correctly. I think we went to the drive-in and watched it. 1999's, man, there is gravel everywhere. What is going on? Jeez. Good grief. But anyway, 1999's The Blair Witch Project. Wow, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. When this movie first came out, now, there's people today who will talk trash about the original Blair Witch Project movie. Oh, it was stupid, it was this, it was that. Yeah, you know what, you're talking out your hind end, because I remember how popular the thing was when it came out. Now, real moviegoers and real fans of the horror genre, back then it was a different world for advertising. They were actually touting this movie as being real. That this footage that they had found from Heather, Josh, and Michael, the three documentary filmmakers who had went out into the woods looking for the Blair Witch, they were touting this footage as being real footage, that they had really found their cameras and that they had really disappeared. Now, those of us who had abstract thoughts actually knew that, you know, this was a movie and the Blair Witch was the angle, but it broke a lot of ground, because up till then, if there had been any, it wasn't a lot of the documentary style movies coming out, because people were not going to you know, they weren't going to pay to watch a documentary. When they went to the movie theater, they wanted to be entertained by, you know, a masked man chasing somebody through the woods. But what the Blair Witch Project actually did was took all of the fear and everything that comes along with being lost in the woods, especially when you're there and you are, you know, you're investigating something as scary as a witch who killed children. Yeah, you actually had to use your mind. It actually made you kind of try to put yourself in that position with the three filmmakers. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I enjoyed the Blair Witch Project when it first came out. I still do. You know, you can laugh at me if you want to. Oh, you watch that fake nonsense. I actually thought it was good. I actually thought that all three of the Heather, Michael, and Josh were very good actors. I actually thought that they were in the role. You know, I actually thought that they played it as if they were really in trouble in the woods, walking around in circles, being tormented by a witch. But I just thought it was a good movie, and I still revisit it. Now, in the franchise, and it did become a franchise, and a lot of people don't know that there was a part 2 or a part 3. Part 2 could have been called anything but The Blair Witch. That movie, in my view, sucked. It was called The Blair Witch Book of Secrets. I think that was the name of it. Well, that may be being harsh. The movie it wasn't awful, but, you know, a lot of us who were fans of the original Blair Witch Project went into that movie hoping to further the first story, and we were let down something fierce. You know, essentially, the first movie took you into the woods, and you're looking for, you know, you're looking for the witch with these guys, and, you know, you're getting invested into their characters and the backstories, and, you know, you're really in behind them and what they're doing, and you're really rooting for them to be successful. But part 2, took a totally different turn. Like I said, that movie could have been called anything that didn't have anything to do with the Blair Witch, because essentially part 2, in my view, had absolutely nothing to do with the Blair Witch. Essentially, it's just a group of people who are going out on the same kind of quest. They're going to try to find out what happened to Heather, Josh, and Michael. And then essentially in the beginning, that's all you hear. And then really there's nothing much about the Blair Witch. It just becomes their story that turns into this weird thing that happened to them overnight, and they were trying to tie it into the Blair Witch, and it didn't work. Essentially, it was a bad movie. The story would have been okay. Like I said, they could have went with something similar, but now there's a part 3 that's called Blair Witch Project that actually focuses back on the original. So actually the third one, even though it had to take place in the future, I would be more considerate to say that it was part 2 to the original Blair Witch Project. In Blair Witch Project, we find Heather's younger brother, who's now grown up, become an adult, and essentially he has been researching everything that he can find about the Blair Witch, and try to find out what happened to his big sister, which is essentially something that anybody would do if they lost a sibling that way. But I thought part 3 should have actually been part 2, because her brother actually gets his friends together and they load up on cameras and equipment, and they actually go into the woods off of a video that was sent to him by himself in the future. But anyway, great cast in part 3. I don't know that I'll actually do a standalone video for part 3 right now. I'm not going to say I won't do one, because it deserves its own video to break it down just a little bit further. But anyway, this is about the original Blair Witch Project, and it amazes me, guys, that this movie became so controversial that, it was just false advertising, it was wrong, it was up, blah, 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 blah. Well, it was entertaining. So I watch a movie, I watch a television show, I watch content on YouTube to be entertained, and the Blair Witch Project fit all of the criteria to become a cult classic, and it has. That movie has a cult following. Very entertaining, great story, and identifiable characters. You could identify with Heather, you could identify with Michael, Josh, you could identify with what was happening to these kids out here in the woods as they were trying to shoot this documentary about the Blair Witch. But anyway, guys, I'm actually coming into town. I gotta make 1 or 2 stops, and then I'll get back to you and we'll wrap this video up. So y'all just hang tight. Be back in a sec. Alright, guys, sorry about that. I know a lot of guys can shoot content, and they'll shoot, everything they're doing, whether they stop at a gas station or anywhere, as long as they don't mind recording. I just don't think that stuff's interesting for my viewers. But we were talking about, the Blair Witch Project, and even if you watched it and you liked it, but you jumped on the bandwagon because everybody was throwing shade its way and hating on it, go back and revisit it, guys. It's actually an interesting concept. It kind of was a trend-setting movie. Like I said, up till then, there hadn't been a lot of stuff done that way. Of course, the basis of the story was this had happened in 96 or 97, and the footage wasn't found till like late 98, early 99, and they put the movie out. But maybe some of the publicity for the movie was a little bit corny, but that's just Hollywood, how Hollywood does it sometimes. Hollywood kind of just out cornies themselves a little sometimes. They get a little more corny than what they need to, but tell you what, riding along the river, guys, October of Motos and Mayhem. Somebody asked me how many videos I thought I was going to shoot for this series, and I'm not sure. I'll just shoot till I feel like I've reached the summit. Now, I will let you know this. We're getting very close to the kind of middle of the pack. And as I said before, I'm not going to tell you what movie I'm going to cover, but I will tell you it is a Stephen King movie. So drop down in the comments. You guys kind of feel it out there. Which movie do you think I'm going to do? You know, and again, any movie, story, anything to do with Stephen King, almost all of Stephen King's work could easily make it onto this list, but the one I have chose to do for Stephen King video, kind of a movie that didn't fly under the radar when it first came out, but I feel like over time maybe the next generation wasn't as interested in it, or maybe they haven't even heard of it, but I'm going to change that. But boy, I tell you guys, just out cruising, super glide around, not being a Dyna Bro. You know, and what I was saying about the Dyna Bros, I don't want you to think, if you're watching this video and if you've made it this far into this video, that I'm throwing shade on the Dyna Bros, because I'm not. You know, I just don't try to follow that trend. Don't want to follow that trend, because for one, it's just not what I'm into, and if we all like the same thing, this would be an awful dull world. But you know, I kind of agree with people like Shade Tree Surgeon and some of the other content creators that I've watched. Whatever gets you on a motorcycle and gets you interested in motorcycling and riding, I'm for it. I'm all for it. So if you got to trick out a Dyna Super Glide and join that trend, if it gets you on a motorcycle, hey, I'm all for it, because the more of us there are out here on the road, the less of them they are. People in cages who don't care about people who ride motorcycles. But you know, the old blue moon here, guys, I gotta tell you, it's actually starting to grow on me. I've actually got some ideas of other stuff I want to do to it. You know, I had kind of wrestled with the idea of, would I get used to it, would I like it? I like it, and I liked it when I traded for it, but it's starting now, it's starting to become me. I'm starting to see, and even R1 said it the other day, she said, now it's starting to look like a motorcycle you would own. And I'm very specific about my motorcycles. I'm very tedious about the way I want them to be, what I want on them. You know, I don't follow trends. If it's something I like, and I will do it. But you know, this bike right here, guys, the Blue Moon, is coming right along, and like I said, I'm starting to it's starting to trip my trigger now, as I always say. I'm starting to look at the overall thing, and I'm really liking what I'm starting to see. And you know, not a lot of people can say they have a Dyna and a Softail, and I'm one of the few that can say that I have a Dyna and a Softail. So you know, it ain't like I'm lost to the world of motorcycling, and I'm not even lost to the rice bikes, the Jap bikes. I mean, I've still got the Punisher, the little 750 Honda. I'm waiting on, the milkman had to order me a solenoid, because my solenoid got stuck and it killed my battery, and I knew it was going bad. I just didn't know it was going to go that bad. But yeah, he had some, but mine were smaller. I think his solenoids that he had, he'd got some for like 1100s, but mine's a 750. So as soon as I can get the solenoid back on the Punisher will be back on the Southern Ride. And I'll tell you, I love that little bike, little 750 Honda. I mean, that thing's just fun to ride, guys. And of course, off-roading with T-Bone, if you watch those videos, The Off-Road with T-Bone videos series was shot on the Punisher. And I got into a conversation with the guy about that the other day. He said, you know, he off-roads tour bikes. He got, you know, KT. I think Milkman said he had a KTM, but he's also got a, you know, a enduro on-road off-road bike, which the letters of the name has completely, for whatever reason, escaped me. But you know, he loves to ride. He loves to take adventures and go into the mountains and, you know, hit them trails. And of course, those bikes are set up. You got to be at least 9.5 taller to ride those bikes comfortably. And of course, I'm not. But you know, I gotta be honest with you guys. It's strange how your taste and stuff that you enjoy, it's strange how all that changes after you get a little bit older. You know, it's not all about being able to pop a wheelie and run wide open, you know, because back in the old days there wasn't that much talk to, you know, for me there wasn't that much talk about being comfortable. If I could sit on it without blowing off the back of it, I was pretty well much comfortable. But you know, I had to do the bar change on this on Blue Moon here to get a little more comfortable, and I had to readjust my controls to get a little more comfortable. And it's just small things. And the seat, I think the seat is, you know, it's a stock seat, I think, but I could upgrade the seat. And of course, everybody automatically, when you start talking about upgrading the seat on a Dyna, everybody automatically says Saddleman. I'm not against the Saddleman seat, but I really, they're kind of blocky looking to me, and I just kind of don't like that. And you know, I'm not sure how the cushion is on them. I've heard reviews on both sides. I've heard people say they love to ride on the Saddleman seat, and then I've heard people say, dude, it's like you don't even have nothing under your butt. It's really uncomfortable. So I don't know. That I can recall, I may be speaking out of turn here, but as I say, if I recall correctly, I don't know that I've ever ridden a motorcycle that had a Saddleman seat on it. Now, I'm not talking about all motorcycles, because I have ridden motorcycles with Saddleman seats, but the Dyna Saddleman seat is actually a specific seat. I'm not sure that I've ever ridden a Dyna that had a Saddleman seat on it, so I can't say one way or the other. Like I said, if any of y'all out there have a Saddleman for a Dyna that you're not using, if you want to donate it so I can actually do a review of it on the Southern Ride, that would be awesome. I would be more than glad to take it, put it on the bike, see how it feels to me, and give an honest review on it. Like these bars here, honest review on these bars. I love these bars. These bars are comfortable, and exactly like the ones that was on the FLT. Of course, they were bigger bars on the FLT, not bigger, taller. They were just wider because it was a bagger. But these style bars right here, they kind of push out a little bit further, and I like that. I can't sit straight up on a motorcycle. I like to lean forward just a little bit and be comfortable, or I like to kind of lean back and, you know, just be comfortable sitting up straight. But I have to be able to adjust myself and move around when I'm on the motorcycle. But that's, again, that's just my style of riding. That's the way I like to do it. But tell you what, guys, I believe that right there is going to bring us to the end of this episode of the Southern Ride and Motos and Mayhem. So guys, remember to drop down, comment, like, share. Give me some ideas. Let me know what y'all would like to see T-Bone talk about on the Southern Ride. You got a favorite horror movie that you really enjoy? Drop down there and drop the name of it. Let me know what it is, and I'll be glad to give it a try. Remember to follow us on Instagram at tbones_southern_ride, and check us out over on YouTube too, guys. If you're on YouTube, give us a like, give us a comment, give us a share. Till the next time, guys, I'm T-Bone, and this has been the Southern Ride.